The following program is sponsored by Tropical Acres Steakhouse.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim sauce with the awesome fave with shafafa on the.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition and another fresh week of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. As you can see, it's a rare home show episode, and that means we can be a little bit looser than usual. And we've got Jeff Defo the Forest, Mike Lubie Lubitz manning the forts in their respective cities. How are you today, Defo?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm here, which is, that's
a win.
It's a win. All right. So I'll start by framing a philosophical question for you, Defo. I know you are a man who likes to study and think of deep philosophical thoughts, but let me pose this question, or actually this contrasting questions. Is ignorance bliss or is knowledge power?
It's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to let Lubie tee that one up.
I usually believe knowledge is power, but I know when it comes to health, sometimes I like just not knowing and lying to myself and telling me that means I'm okay. So I presume that's what you're talking about. I like knowing because I can be ready for it. But again, like they always say, no. Look, we worked in radio. You didn't get compliments. You were doing a good job because they never talked to you ever. So no news is good news. So I'm so used to no news is good news that I've almost acquiesced to that just being sort of my frame of mind. Is as long as no one's doctors, my wife, you people, as long as no one's bitching at me, I guess I'm doing a good job.
And Defo, I know, like in the realm of current events and the state of the world, I think ignorance is bliss these days. But when it comes to, I guess, personal health or well-being, I don't know. I mean, are you one of those like Lubie that's just kind of doesn't want to know what's going on? But you go to doctor's appointments now, especially now that you have Medicare and they pull up with limos and free cocktails on the way to the clinic. It's I guess it's a little bit different story once you reach the promised land of 65. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't know that ignorance is ever good. I mean, especially with what's going on in the world today. So I'd rather know. You need to face facts. That's the name of the game. Admit to yourself what's going on. Know what's going on. The better you know yourself, I think, the better off you're going to be.
Okay, well, then that tees up the latest Mike Mayo medical adventure, which I know as part of the Mayo Clinic.
Like my high school and college transcripts, this report that you got. There's a lot of incompletes and a lot of Fs. You know?
No, well, so here was the situation. You know, I've lived, let's say, a life of well, maybe you could call it excess, given the way that I eat and drink, and I have a lust for life. So, and when you get to a certain age, and in my case, 58 and change, sometimes it's time to pay the piper. Now, as you know, last summer I went for a scan. They call it a CT calcium scan of your heart, and it kind of registers like what's going on. A little bit of a snapshot. It's not the most detailed test, but it kind of gives you a quick snapshot. Now, 0 is the best number, and anything over like 300 is a bad number. 3 of my 4 arteries scored perfect zeros, which I was not only shocked, but also utterly, delighted by. But one of my chambers, one of the arteries, the lower left, which is also known as the Widowmaker artery, scored a 350, and that's a little bit of a cause for concern. It might indicate a plaque buildup or a blockage or something. So the next step in the process and the progression is something called a MRI of the heart with contrast, IV contrast, and also known as a nuclear stress test MRI. And every time you hear the words nuclear and stress test, it can be a little bit of a cause for concern. Have you ever undergone any of these tests, Defo?
I did have a nuclear stress test.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Not on my heart. No, I was being checked out. Well, I guess it was. Yeah, it was on my heart because I was going to get knee surgery. And I had to, this was years ago, I had to go through a battery of tests to be able to get the surgery. And one of the tests, because my knee was shot, I couldn't do the regular stress test on the treadmill. So they told me the only other option was the nuclear stress test. And I started hearing some things about it. And believe me, it's the last thing I would ever want to do.
So you went into, I call it the catacomb of doom, where you slide into this narrow MRI thing.
This wasn't with an MRI. No,
Oh,
it was a different type of test. I don't recall being in any MRI.
okay. So they just injected you with the nuclear medicine, and they kind of did an EKG without the full
Yes.
MRI. See, mine, because I was a little bit more of, I guess they were trying to find out some things. And so this was a test that was scheduled months in advance, but for yesterday, and went down to Memorial Hospital.
You actually
And
showed up.
I did show up. I also maintained my sobriety throughout the weekend. And I was, let's say, you know me, I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac. I always assume the worst. And Val told me a story about one of her friends who went in for one of these tests probably like 6 or 7 years ago. And they wheeled him immediately into the surgery to do a quadruple bypass surgery after the MRI showed like all these blockages. So like everybody was telling me, oh, no, don't worry, because when you go in for this, basically they just kind of take pictures, and then they send it to the cardiologist, and then you go over it with the cardiologist when you have an appointment. Mine is next week. But when I was in yesterday and they started hooking up the IVs, and I'm talking to the MRI technician, and I was like, so I said, let me just get this straight. It's like, is there a possibility that they'll see something like a blockage and then they'll wheel me right into the cath lab to give me some sort of either a stent or an angioplasty? And she goes, oh yeah, that happens. It's like that's the last thing I wanted to hear, right? So, and I was like, well, how often? She goes, oh, it's not it's rare. I was like what? 2%, 5%? She goes, she goes, you want stats? I was like, yeah, I'm a horse player. I want odds.
I want odds on my life.
And she's like, I can't give you a figure, but it's rare. I'd probably say like 2 in 100. So 2%, which to me, I've seen a couple of 40-1 shots come in the last week, including by your friend Luca Panici. So I don't know. The bottom line is they slide me into this catacomb of doom. This is okay. First of all,
of doom.
I've done MRIs before.
God, man.
Okay. These machines are wonderful, but this one is like the deluxe thing where like they have all these cameras set up. And then also I had on one hand, they have the IV line where they pump in this like nuclear chemical in the middle of the test, which kind of speeds up your heart. And then on the other hand, they had to put a blood pressure cuff on me at some point. I guess they're just monitoring your blood pressure throughout this procedure. And so when they slide me in, and this is 90 minutes inside this tube, and you get slid in, claustrophobia doesn't begin to describe it. It is like you feel like you're going into a catacomb or a coffin. I mean, it was very, very unpleasant. Okay. And they slide me out at one point when they're going to pump in this nuclear agent into the IV line. And that's after about an hour. And then they slide you back in. So, but you spend a total of 90 minutes in this little tube, and I'm crammed in with all this thing. It's like the IV line is pinching one arm, and the cuff is like, reading my blood pressure every minute. It's like squeezing your arm. And I'm just like, my only thought, and I just go into meditation mode. And I don't know if you've ever done any transcendental meditation, Defo. You're from, you spent time in California.
Yes, I haven't.
But I just calmed myself with this thought, and I just had 2 words going through my mind in a loop for 90 minutes, and they were gummy and martini. And I said, if I slide out of here and they don't wheel me right away to the, surgery lab, I am going straight to Tropical Acres. And God bless Val. She was there with me and was there to drive me back. So she stayed there just to make sure everything went fine. And they kept me in there a while for some extra pictures, and they put these headphones on you, and there's like the technician is telling you to breathe in, hold your breath. They take all these pictures when you hold your breath. But then she was like, okay, we got the cardiologist down here now. And they bring the cardiologist in to kind of oversee things when they put this nuclear chemical into you, and then they flush it out of you, and then they take more pictures. They held me for a lot of extra pictures, and I started getting nervous. But the bottom line was, I didn't have any kind of major blockages that needed immediate addressing, which is good. So, and then I basically fell off the wagon. And I gave
Oh,
myself
you
it
ain't
was like, so the good news is since February 1st, Defo, I've lost 10 pounds. I've been exercising, regularly. I've been treating myself right. No drinking, no drugging. But last night fell off the wagon. Went for dinner with my buddy Ed is in town, Val, and she was also some business associates. We went to Tropical Acres, went to happy hour. I saw Nick. I gave him the bat signal, and he immediately made me the Belvedere martini for $8. I tell you what, Defo, that tasted like liquid gold. And I realized a couple of things. Number one, alcohol is expensive over the long haul. It's also kind of, maybe it's all meaningless in the end, but so is life. Life is expensive and maybe ultimately meaningless, but I want to keep going with it. So I realize I do want to drink in moderation. I'm going to go back to sobriety until Saturday when we go to Gulfstream for the bourbon and barbecue event that's going to be at 10 Palms, actually at the third floor Flamingo Room at Gulfstream this Saturday. And then I'm going to go take it easy for a couple of weeks until Val's birthday is in the middle of March. So I'm going to extend the sobriety, even though I fell off. We didn't have any wagers on it, did we? Or do I owe you $100? I forget what happened.
We could have had it. We didn't believe you. So
yeah, you guys didn't believe me. And as it turned out, I did fall hard, but I think that was when I told the MRI tech on the way out that I'd been doing a dry February, but I needed a martini immediately. She was like, I won't tell you and I won't judge. So I was okay with that. Bottom line is I walked out, but then I got the test results came into this, you have this My Chart system now where you could read all your tests immediately. But now I'm going into ignorance is bliss mode because they said if something was really bad, then the cardiologist would call you right away. And I haven't gotten any calls, and I have an appointment scheduled for next week. And I just figure I'm not going to read this full report to see if there's any kind of pending issues or, 40% blockages, because they don't really do anything if you only have like a 40% blockage. I don't want to see the numbers yet. I just want to, I guess I'll wait and go to the cardiologist and see what he says. Do you think that's wise? In that case, I'm going with the ignorance is bliss now for now. Lubie?
Me? I since you already have an appointment and they've already made it clear if it was really scary, they would have told you. They love to have that next appointment where you sit there for an hour and a half, wait for them, and then they spend 3 minutes with you, go over the numbers, telling you it doesn't mean anything, and then you go home. So I'm presuming if it was really bad, they would have already told you. You can look at the numbers, but do you even? I don't understand what any of the numbers mean half the time. Like I have to go to Shirley, and then we go to Google and we look up what each freaking category is. So if that's what's going to happen next week, then yes, I actually would not look because it's just going to be confuse the crap out of me.
Yeah. Well, all I know is I don't ever want to do MRI of the heart again, but I might have to.
It sounds insane.
But it's a lot better than doing a prostate biopsy. I'll tell you that.
God.
So that's it. But that's something I don't even want to get into right here. But did go to Tropical Acres last night. It was great because got to see Nick at the bar, a full bar during the happy hour. And then you'd be proud of me. Guess what I ordered for dinner last night, Defo?
No clue.
What if I'm a little bit scared and I'm trying to live a healthier lifestyle? I'll give
Fish
you a hint.
You want fish?
Sally ordered it last time we all went together, which I can't believe it's
Scallops?
been a couple of years. Yes, scallops. I ordered
Good for you.
scallops, and you know what? It was good, but I still snuck a couple of pieces of filet mignon that Val ordered, and that was delicious. And took a bite or two of the prime rib that Ed ordered, and it's only fitting that it's a Tropical Acres Tuesday here. We did order a half price bottle of wine, 2 of them actually. It was what a great deal that is. Austin Hope Cabernet. You've seen that around lately, but they have the extra large. It was like a 1 liter bottle, which they usually charge $86 for. To get that for $43, we got 2 of them for $86, and it was a group of 5 of us. And very, very good deal. And that's the kind of stuff you find at Tropical Acres. And I also got my loyalty reward club card fully punched which was a treat because for every 12, you get the 13th one on the house up to a $35 value. I posted about that this morning on the Let's Eat group. And of course, people are chiming in and saying, geez, Mayo, the way that Tropical Acres gets reviewed here, I'm surprised that you like it. And I was like, why would you be surprised? I love the place. Great value, classic and classy. The Studiales. Jack was away yesterday. Him and Terry love to kind of get away sometimes for a few days, but his son Joe was manning the fort, and always good to see everybody there. It was a fantastic time, and I was just so happy to be eating dinner, even with good friends and good food and good libations, and not stuck in the catacomb of doom. So, all right, that's it. Let's take our first break, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of go over everybody else's weekends. I see Defo was drumming and hanging out with his musician friends. And Lubie, I think you went to Wild Time for a brunch with Shirley. We'll get a report on that with our friend Steve DePuso. And that brings us also to Waterfront Dining. The Sun Sentinels released their list of finalists, their best waterfront dining competition. And we'll go over what their finalists were and what I think some of the omissions were after these words on the Lunchbox. When people ask me about the best restaurants in South Florida, Casa d'Angelo is always at the top of my list. First-class dining, top-flight service, elegant atmosphere, and chef-founder Angelo Ilia is legendary. The flagship in Fort Lauderdale has been serving the finest Italian cuisine since 1997, with other locations in Boca Raton and Aventura. As Angelo himself says, they have an unwavering commitment to unparalleled quality with meticulous attention to details. It's so good, with house-made pastas, pristine seafood, unique meats like elk chops and bison, and seasonal specialties including fragrant fresh truffles from Italy. All locations open 7 days for dinner. Reservations recommended for a special occasion or any occasion. Casa d'Angelo. Tell them Mike Mayo sent you. Delicious Mexican food with innovative twists. Margaritas with a medley of tongue-tingling flavors. I'm talking about Taco Craft, Taqueria, and Tequila Bar. The place to go on Taco Tuesday and every day. It's located at 510 North Federal and Highway in Fort Lauderdale, and also in Lauderdale by the Sea at Plantation Walk, and soon in Coral Springs. Taco Craft has specials every day, including bottomless drinks for a Sunday brunch, and Taco Tuesdays with their $4 premium tacos, including their new birria tacos with bone marrow broth. Oh, it's so good. They've even made a taco lover out of me, and they've got so much more, including fajitas, that open-face smashed cheeseburger tortilla that's new, and a guacamole sample that's an explosion of flavors. The kitchen is open late. There's delivery and takeout. For more information, go to tacocraft.com. Tell them Mike Mayo, the Lunchbox, sent you. Hey, it's Mayo for Gilbert's 17th Street Grill. You know me, I love family-run places with quality food at fair prices served with passion and pride. And that's why I love Gilbert's. For more than a decade, Lenore, Beth, and Richie Gilbert have been serving up the best burgers, wings, ribs, salads, and desserts. It's a fast casual spot. Everything prepared fresh to order from an immaculate open kitchen. They're at 1821 Cordova Road in Fort Lauderdale in the Cordova Shops just south of 17th Street. Open every day but Sunday. One of my favorite burgers in South Florida. Big, round, juicy pucks of 100% Angus beef, char grilled to perfection. And don't miss the sweet potato fries on the side. They're legendary. Go to Gilbert's, feast, and all right, we're back on the Lunchbox, and busy weekend. It is prime time now, and beautiful weather, and I hope everybody enjoyed their weekends. Let's get a report. Lubie, what exactly? You went down to the beach, right?
Yeah, so we were there last week, and I had a really good time. And I was already thinking we haven't gone out. Had a lot going on the weekend, so her and I just haven't gone out in a while. And I've learned through my relationship failures that a big part of a relationship success is to spend time alone from time to time. So out too, because we'll do a lot of the laying around watching TV stuff. But
what do you mean alone? Like a we time or me time? Because I think
we time. I know you get lots of me time. We do lots of on the couch watching TV time, and or we'll have events, or we'll travel. We haven't gone out for like a brunch or like dinner in a while. So I was like, you know what? I was already thinking like maybe we'll go to Heritage because we haven't been there in a while, and like we love Heritage. And then we went to Wild Time last week, and I was like, shoot, she loves brunch. And like, we haven't been out for brunch in forever. And I always see, I'll see her chime in on the Let's Eat post when people ask about brunch, because Shirley like keeps an eye on Let's Eat. She was actually involved with it before even I was. So I was like, all right, how do I not take her here? So like, it was such a cool experience. Like the brunch board, it's a lot of food, but the way it's almost what you said, like the way that they portion it, like we had leftovers, but it wasn't like this ridiculous amount. And the parking is taken care of, and it's valet, which
That's
is really
such a
cool.
huge thing, especially for a beachfront hotel, because a lot of places
Yes.
stick you for 10 or 20 bucks, and to be able to get out of there by just tipping the
And they give you
valet.
like 3 hours of free parking. So
Yeah.
honestly, you could eat your meal and then go to the beach for like a couple hours and not have to like pay for parking if you really wanted to. So we ended up, the weather wasn't great, so we ended up just taking our time. It was a really cool experience. The food was great. The service was great. It's just a really cool place to take in like a meal, and then every seat has a view of the beach, which is really
Did you
cool.
sit outside or inside?
We would have sat outside. I just made because again, I kept hearing about this freaking cold front. So I'm like, knowing my luck, I'd go to the beach to sit outside and it'd be 50s. So I made it for inside, and they were actually pretty jammed. So we sat inside, and we had a really good experience. Like she enjoyed it. I know they're going to start doing like old school, like brunch. Where
Yeah, and that's talking about an incredible deal. The fact that he announced that starting next Sunday, I guess in March, that they're going to kind of more back to a buffet style brunch where they have different stations with an omelet station and eggs, but also they have a menu where you could order dishes a la carte, and they prepare it in the kitchen and bring it out to the table. But for $39 per person, I mean, holy Joe Beja, that's even a better, it's like the value for a beachfront I'm sure there's a time limit, but you could also do the all you can drink add-on, and that's going to be starting next week, $39 per person. But these brunch boards that you had, I guess they'll have them. I know they do
getting rid of them. No, I don't think he's getting rid of them.
Okay.
It's just cool because it gives you because that's the thing is like the next day she wanted to order breakfast. I was out doing some work, and because of that board, whatever you get sweet or you get savory. Like
you get both. Does it give you they put like some French toast and eggs?
Bananas Foster French toast, which was ridiculous. It gives you the pancakes, which were really nice pancakes. Then it gives you a burger slider, and it was cooked to order, which was really cool. It gives you a chicken finger. It gives you a whole slew of fruit. It gives you potatoes. Like it gives you almost all the kind of, if you're an eater like us, right? Like I know some people like to just order their food and eat their food, and breakfast is a meal that I could actually lean that way, honestly. We do the rest of our meals, we share, right? So it was cool and then it gives you a sausage links and bacon, so you don't have to
great.
pick the two. Like,
you know me, in my heart, we love our sausage links and bacon. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just interesting because it's the kind of thing we never normally would order because it looks like a lot of food, but being in Spain with the tapas, being the way we tend to eat when we're at out and about, order a few appetizers. Like it almost for breakfast, it almost feels like that. Like it feels sort of like a buffet without having to keep getting up and go to a thing, right? Like you have a little bit of everything. The price the value's there. It was just really cool, especially, and it's funny because she didn't get to watch our show with Steve last week, but I was telling her what's really cool about his properties is all of them are in really cool locations where just going there is the experience. So they could probably get away with marginal food, but I waited till after she ate before I said that because every bite she made a face like, ooh, ah. I'm like, that's what's cool about them is he doesn't rest on his laurels with that. Like he really takes the quality, the taste, experience as much as the location, as much as the view, as much as the service. Like the food was really good. And I was really impressed by it. We've done brunches where I enjoy it. And we've done brunches where it's just like, it's about drinking the freaking mimosas and the food's almost an afterthought. Like for something I hadn't really known about until last week, like we really had a good time. And I really appreciate you.
Lunchbox Mind and Steve DePuzza. I'm glad you had a good experience. Did you look lovingly in Shirley's eyes because you were having a good weed time? That's good.
We weed it out.
Defo, how about you? I think I saw you went to a place that used to be a strip club and now it's a music club and they have good food, or what? Did I get that wrong? And you were hitting the drums or not hitting the drums? What was going on with you?
No, these guys were way beyond my capabilities. You know me. I mean, I like venues that feature musicians, especially the guys that I follow and I'm friends with. There's several places, and I'll always check out a new venue that attempts to do something like this. So I had seen on Facebook any number of pictures and references to a place called Gigi's in Pompano Beach, right around the corner here from Lauderdale by the Sea. And I happened to catch that our buddy, a mutual friend, he's a big fan of the show and a Mike Mayo fan.
Oh, Rock and Rod. I met him at the
That's
Lauderdale Food Fest. Yeah.
Jacobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
A harmonica player and a singer, band leader who's been around for a long time, does a great job, has his own band. But his guitar player, a cat named Steve Laudicina, who's brilliant and a big Met fan, by the way, but a great guitar player. And he's been around for a while. But he couldn't make it, so substituting for Steve was world-class guitar player Matt Schofield.
Oh, yeah. He's great. I've seen him at the Tipper. Yeah. That's great.
The amazing thing about these guys, they're so humble that here's somebody, and I posted up a picture of him with a full orchestra selling out like Royal Albert Hall in England. And here he is on the stage of Gigi's playing with another three pieces in the band. And so, and it was a $5 cover charge. So that wasn't too prohibitive. A lot of these places are free. You could go to Rudy's in Lake Worth, which used to be the Bamboo Room, and catch some of the same guys. And also the Tipperary Pub. Tonight they'll have the West Side Blues Band with John Yurt. He used to own the Backroom Blues Bar. A couple of different extrapolations of that. The classic one on 441 in Boca. And then later on, he owned one on Atlantic Avenue in Delray on the west side of 95. So I figured I'm going to check it out. A friend of mine happened to call me and ask me if I knew of any live music that was going on. I said, yeah, well, I'm going to go check this out at 5 o'clock. I'd seen people commenting that they had good food and that the place was really giving it a shot. This is fits the Mayo MO. Little hard to find. It was off Powerline Road, but even with the Google Maps or whatever I was using to guide me there, GPS, I'm thinking I'm lost. It was kind of in a warehouse district. And sure enough, I'm looking, going, wait a minute, that used to be like Diamond Dolls or something.
So it was a strip club term music.
It was definitely a strip club because of the configuration. It was funny. You walk in and the tables were nicely decorated and arranged, but they were all arranged around a runway that extended from the stage. So the only thing they had taken out of there was
poles up there.
And I'm thought, this is only something that could happen in South Florida, where you got a guy literally that is a world-class musician, and he's playing here with a little four-piece band in a converted strip club. Did meet Gigi. I would suggest this to really describe the experience. We should have Gigi on the show. I took her card. She was very enthusiastic, well aware of the Let's Eat South Florida group. In fact, somebody before I started speaking to her had suggested that maybe they do something and try and pump themselves up a little bit on Let's Eat South Florida. And I believe that person might have put a post up also about it on Let's Eat South Florida.
Okay.
I would have to say this: food surprisingly good. I mean, considering converted strip club, it wasn't like you were getting the strip club.
I've had some very fine meals at
Mostly they do good food at strip clubs. I've actually heard
sometimes,
the one up.
They got Rachel's and so not Rachel's anymore. I think it's something else. But
Monroe's
hang out there and recommend. When we had Lubie and I had a dinner there, and it was fabulous. So there are some high-end food places that are also strip clubs. But in this case, great job by these people. People always.
What did you eat?
Let's Eat South Florida. I didn't have much. I wasn't really that hungry, so I had some truffle French fries. My buddy ended up having steak tips, which had garlic mashed potatoes, and was a very nice presentation. $24. And we had like 5 drinks between the two of us, 2 plates of food, and the check was $88. It was fantastic. And the servers could not have been any more attentive or anxious for you to enjoy yourself there. I really appreciated that. That was something that impressed me a lot. And it's another category. Maybe we should do some exploration on this on the show here over a period of time. Places that try to feature music that are also restaurants.
Right.
Because not an easy dynamic to pull off, and especially in the beginning. So they've been open since June. I would recommend people try it. Heavy blues influence in terms of the bands that they book, which isn't always necessarily a formula for success. But I would recommend going there, and I would gladly go back again.
Have you heard of okay, and this, it's a good topic of, places where you can get live music and where music isn't just an afterthought, but it's
Yep.
like good
Well,
music.
and where the
And
food isn't just an afterthought to the music
right.
is the
And
other
your
part.
friends over at Funky Biscuit do a great job. Crazy Uncle Mike's, they have a good food
Good food.
program there.
Yeah,
Chef
crazy.
Tara Abrams, very well regarded, and she makes these sweet
Fishtails,
potato
I keep telling you
pancakes.
about fishtails. The
Push on
food
great
there
music.
is,
Yeah, so
I mean, if they had no music, the restaurant itself would stand alone and stand up very well against anybody.
And
So
then further west in Sunrise is a jazz club. I think it's called All That Jazz, that has live jazz musicians, including some very well-known national figures that come in. I don't know if it's still going. I reviewed it for the Sentinel way back, probably like 8 years ago. And the guy who runs it, very earnest guy. The food, I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's serviceable. And you go in there for a night of jazz and entertainment and dancing, and that's always fun. So that part was good. I don't know where Lubie has gone to. I hope the aliens haven't kidnapped him or ICE is not knocking on the door, but I think Lubie should be safe. But so that's good. So you got to find a new place, Gigi's, and I'm going to put it on my list of places we could check it out, and we'll go from there. Meanwhile, I had a experience where I went to an event at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival. I did not go down to the big white tents on the beach where I really get claustrophobic because crowds in the thousands. And I know Joe Beja spent the weekend. He was there Friday and he had a good time. But I went to an event where they have these kind of like satellite events at different parts of town, and they're smaller, but there's still that South Beach vibe where it's a lot of people and kind of big lines. And this was something that I got tickets through because I went to a charity event. I bid on a package for South Beach tickets, a $500 package of tickets that I was able to get for $150. So it's not a complete schnorr. It was like something that was that I picked up at a discount, but at least it was going to charity. And then, but it was at this event down in Coconut Grove at a place called The Hangar, which I don't know if you're familiar with. It's like a big, looks like an airport or airplane hangar, but it's right next to the bay, right next to where Monty's is in Coconut Grove, and now they built a Whole Foods market and City Hall down there. But it's a nice venue. It was presented by Belkis Nare and Dan Levitard. I saw neither one of them there, but I got there late. Val and her sister and Ed and we went down there. It opened at 6. We didn't get there till closer to 7. And by the time we got there, we just saw long lines. But we did see our friends Timon and Marissa from the Catherine. They were there dishing out some of their tuna, or was it shrimp ceviche? It was very good. Also saw a couple other chefs that I know from down there in Miami. Also, Lindsay Autry from Palm Beach Gardens now. She had a place called The Regional in West Palm that's no longer with us, but now she operates Honey Bell out of the resort that's up at the PGA National Resort. So anyways, good to see some chef friends and had some nice light bites. And it was okay, but I'm reminded why sometimes I prefer. Well, I mean, we've sung the praises of Phil and Kate so many times with the Visit Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival because it seems like they sell the right number of tickets. It's not ever that long of a lines, and you could get everything before they run out. And that was one of the things this week. A couple of the places had run out of stuff even before we got to get to the end of the line. So, but c'est la vie. It's still a nice night, and it's for a good cause. And they did another big bang up weekend. I mean, it was over 100 events at all the different venues. And it raises money for that FIU hospitality school, which is good because hospitality is a business that I think training and education, especially for those that are in the management ranks, these are good programs that they enable kids to have scholarships and things like that. So, job well done by Lee Schrager and crew with the I guess it was like the 22nd or 3rd festival down at the beach. But yeah, it's turned into quite the happening. So that's it. Should we do the contest winner before the next break or after? Actually, we got time to the next break. Let's do. This is impressive, Defo. We had a contest winner, and It is a record. I didn't realize, but I kind of, as I was looking up the names of when she won last to make sure she was eligible. Well, she is eligible because she won her last one in early November. So it's more than 3 months. A 5-time winner. I mean, I didn't even realize we had any 5-time winners, but we had one this week. Congratulations to Megan Collins winning her 5th brunch package at 10 Palms at Gulf Street. She seems to have she gets off the bench. You have to sit out for 3 months after you win, but she seems to get off the bench and win within the first month every time she wins. So this one, it was China Grill was the name of the restaurant that was down in South Beach from restaurateur Jeffrey Chatterow. And the contest race, again, it was a maiden special race that we made, and there was a scratch, and the favorite ended up being a Todd Pletcher horse, Majorca. But once again, my angle, which is whenever Todd Pletcher has 2 horses in an uncoupled entry in a race, always bet the higher price one, and that was the case this time. Skateaway number 2 was listed at 4-1, 5-1 in the morning line, and went off a little under 4-1. But anyway, Skateaway was the winner, and then we got to the Knicks Celtics tiebreaker game, and all those Knicks fans, they're as deluded as Jets fans and Dolphins fans, and probably Mets fans. Mets fans are about to get their hearts broken again. And I grew up a Mets fan, but they get so excited. Oh, Juan Soto hit a home run in his first at bat in spring training. Meanwhile, half their pitching rotation is like down with injuries. One of them for like 6 months. So the Mets are going to be screwed. But I digress. The bottom line is the Celtics blew out the Knicks. The final was by 13 points. Did you see the end of the game, Defo? Were you watching that one?
I kind of lost interest. I tuned in late. I saw the Knicks were getting crushed, and I turned away from it.
There was a very interesting turn of events at the end that made me go, but I did not look up what the over-under on the game was or what the points. But I assume the Celtics were probably favored by like 6 points or something. So they easily covered. I don't know. I don't even know what the spread was. But the Celtics had the ball with possessions in the last minute 2 times where they just stood there. The Knicks did not foul them because they were already up by 13 points, but they just took 24-second clock violations. They didn't even put up a shot. And they did that 2 times. Now, it worked out in the favor of Megan Collins because she had the Celtics winning by 16, and they actually won by 13. There was somebody else that had the Celtics winning by 17. So if the Celtics actually put up a couple of shots and hit a couple at the end, it could have been a completely different result, but it wasn't. I don't know how that factored into the over-under, but they basically showed mercy on the Knicks. You would think they would just keep shooting instead of just taking 24-second violations. It was weird to me. Have you seen that before? Either of you gents, you have? Lubie?
Not uncommon. They would just concede at that point. Why rub it in their face?
Once you get under a minute, if you're up by more than 15 and they're not fouling, you only try if they're trying. Once you're up by that much, if they're not trying, you don't want to start having turnover. Now if they're not fouling, right? You don't want to. It's all about time more than anything at that point. So you don't want to jack up a bad shot and then lead to a fast break and then they get a foul. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong. So when you're up by that much and they're not fouling, people do that all the time. They'll eat the clock and they'll just put the ball down and walk away.
All right, because I just thought at least you put up a shot, maybe not a very high percentage one, but and it all worked out, and it was good. Well, okay, it averted some controversy because Megan had the Celtics winning by 16. There was another entry that had the Celtics winning by 17, who had the right the right horse and the right restaurant, but it came into my inbox at 2:02 p.m. on Saturday, and it would have had to gone to the judges panel of would I be too cruel? Was it being too stringent to just DQ him? But rules are rules. It's supposed to be in by noon. I don't know if it's a server issue, if a person. But again, it was time stamped at 2:02 p.m. So that person was going to be DQ'd anyway. So it's just as well that the Celtics didn't win by 17 or more. So that's that. All right, and again, congratulations, Megan Collins.
Congratulations. That's great.
You have won a lunchbox. I'm sorry, a brunch bash. Brunch package for 2 at 10 Palms. And I got to mention our next brunch bash is going to be coming up at 10 Palms on Sunday, April 6th. And that's where anybody can come and you get a discounted rate. Instead of $55 per person, you get 20% off. So $44 per person plus tax and tip. Joe Beja gives a break to those who want to come out. We'll be out there, and a bunch of contest winners will be out redeeming their prizes that Sunday, April 6th. Keeneland will be going along with live racing at Gulfstream. If you want to join us, just email me at mikemayoeats@gmail.com and RSVP with a number of people in your party, and you don't even have to give any deposit. You just pay the day of the event, April 6th, Sunday, 10 Palms at Gulfstream. It's going to be great. And, of course, this Saturday, there's going to be, besides the Fountain of Youth Stakes, it's the Bourbon and Barbecue event. If you want tickets, go online to GulfstreamPark.com, and you'll be able to get your tickets for this Saturday's event. It's going to be a great time. Lubie, are you going to be able to come for a little bit? Because I'm going to be.
I have it this weekend. I'm down. Yeah.
Okay, I'm making an appearance. All right, we're going to take our second break before we do. Talking about the medical updates, we wish speedy recovery to our friend Tom T.
Tom T.
I see that he had an issue with his foot and leg, and that he was in the hospital overnight. I hope the prognosis is okay and they're treating you with.
He joined us before. It's funny. He said Gigi's is actually, when Defo talked about music and food, and they already have food, Gigi's been reaching out to him about doing stuff with them. So
Ooh, that'd be great.
Another lunchbox connection is Tom
Smart.
T plus Gigi wanting. I'm like, let's get him there and we'll do a show then. That would be a great combo.
That would be smart.
But he was joining us and he said he's fine. He's like, I'm here. I guess that's
all right. Well, we wish him well and a speedy recovery. I'd love to see him and at Gigi's and maybe do a show there and have him, back up on his feet and cooking again and doing these pop-ups, because he's a talented man, and we don't want to keep a talented man down. So yes. Before we go to the next break, is my internet behaving okay now, or is it?
It's fine. I think it was mine. It was mine.
Okay. It's all good. Casa D'Angelo, I got to give the good word, because it is the finest in Italian cuisine, upscale fine dining for the people in your life who appreciate the finer things in life, whether it's a date night with your significant other or you have friends and relatives coming in from out of town. You're going to want to check out Casa D'Angelo. 3 locations, one up in Boca Raton on Palmetto Park Road with our friend Chef Ricky. Then the one down in Aventura right next to Gulfstream. If you have a good day at the races, go out to Casa D'Angelo in Aventura. And, of course, the Fort Lauderdale flagship location. It's been there over 25 years with our friend Chef Angelo Ilia and Chef Angelo Massanova. They do just a fantastic job. All the finest ingredients, great wines, great service. Casa D'Angelo. Go online to casa-d-angelo.com for their upcoming events. They have great wine dinners and to make reservations. All right, we'll be back with more on the Lunchbox after these words.
Hey Lunchbox fans, is it time to sell your business? You've poured your heart and soul into your restaurant or business, and you want to see continue the legacy you have built. Transworld can help. Call me, Andy Cagnetta, at Transworld Business Advisors right now and see if it's time for you to retire and relax. Iconic brands like the Mai Kai, Mulligan's, Carlos and Pepe's, Mangoes, and many more turn to Transworld to help sell. Contact Transworld on Facebook or call 954-772-1122 or visit tworld.com. Again, that's 954-772-1122 or tworld.com.
When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally. And they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks. They're open every day but Tuesday. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30, except Sunday. Go to Looking for great seafood that's a little further inland? Luke's Seafood and Grill. That's Luke's with a C, 5511 South University Drive in Davie. Luke and Roxy, they're a great couple with great food. It's a mom and pop shop bringing the freshest fish and seafood to Western Broward, some of the best jambalaya and fish cakes around. And Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? You can find his famous Scoobies, those sauteed crab claws, right there on the specials board most days. Oh, so good. So take a trip to University just north of Sterling today. Lunch, dinner, closed on Mondays. Tell them Mike Mayo's Lunchbox sent you. When people come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Feel like getting away without leaving town? Then you got to check out the House on the River in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful restored historic home with indoor and outdoor dining right on the New River. You'll think you're in Charleston or Savannah. It has a gorgeous patio, porches, and private dining areas, and it offers unique experiences perfect for a date night or fun times with friends and family. It has weekend brunches, happy hour, dinner Wednesday through Sunday. There's also a high tea on Friday and Saturdays, and the popular House of Veuve Champagne experience on weekends. The House on the River is in Fort Lauderdale's Himmershey district, just south of the Science Museum. For reservations and all right, we're back on the Lunchbox, and we got a nice week coming up. The rest of the week, we're going to be at Luke's Seafood Grill out in Davie tomorrow. A little bit of a later side show after the lunch rush 2:30 with our friend Luke and Roxy. On Thursday, we're going to be at Gilbert's 17th Street Grill in Fort Lauderdale, around the corner from my house. I'm going to walk there, and I'm going to get a fish sandwich this time. But they've got the great burgers, and Lenore, let's see if she notices that I've lost a little bit of weight, or we'll see. She keeps me honest, but it's always a good time to see the Gilbert family, Beth, Richie, and of course, Mama Lenore. Lenore is the best. And then Friday, as usual, Gulfstream Park, 10 Palms with our friend Joe Beja. And one other note, Red Meat Lovers Club, they held a nice event last night at the Warren Whiskey Bar up in Delray, and they're having another takeover event coming up in a few Mondays at Runway 84, Anthony's Runway 84, takeover by the Red Meat Lovers Club. Go on to their website at rmlclub.com or eventbrite.com to get your tickets for the takeover of Runway 84. It's going to be epic, and there's going to be a Parm buffet station. I love those words, Parm station. My cardiologist doesn't. All right. Couple of other things. Let's get to the waterfront dining. The Sun Sentinel came out with their
Did
finalists.
they specify it, or it literally doesn't matter if it's intercoastal? It doesn't matter if it's like.
This was the interesting thing. They have 5 finalists, and 2 of them were on the Atlantic Ocean, 2 of them were on the Intracoastal, and 1 of them was on the New River. But the one on the New River wasn't the one that I would have picked, which is the House on the River, because it's such a cool setting. The one they picked, that the readers picked as a finalist, is the Riverside Hotel. It's called the Boathouse at the Riverside. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a nice place. It's not as nice of a lawn setting. Like, I love the House on the River, what he's done to it, because it's an old historic house, but that whole lawn setup, you feel like you're, like in New Orleans or Charleston or something like that. But all right, let's go over the list, and we'll see if Defo can maybe give a comment or a finalist or a winner. We have 2 former sponsors on the list. One, Deck 84, our man Burt Rappaport, all class. That's on the Intracoastal in Delray Beach. Deck 84 is one of the finalists for best waterfront dining. Another one is Aruba Beach Cafe. Right on the ocean, you can actually dine with your toes in the sand there. I've known the chef there, Chris Nealon, a long time, and Aruba Beach Cafe, Lauderdale by the Sea, very popular spot. Then, as I mentioned, Boathouse at the Riverside, Sea Watch on the ocean, Sarni's place. He loves Sea Watch, and I still haven't gone there, and that's right across the street from you, right, Defo?
Yeah, nice place. People love it. I mean, the views are great. Food's good. I don't know that I would put it in the top or on the top of my list, but I could see where it would qualify for this.
It's got a view. Yeah. Sarni loves it. I still have never been there, and I've got to get there. Maybe I'll take Sarni. Well, no, maybe Sarni could take me. No, it was his birthday. I'll buy him a trip.
I'll tell you what they had there that was interesting. Because I was over there. I just had a couple of drinks there with a friend of mine about a month ago. And I've been there many, many times, but somebody had a bouillabaisse, right? They were eating at the bar.
Okay.
And it literally was like they may as well have just served it in an aquarium. I've never seen so many varieties of seafood come out of a dish as what they had in this bouillabaisse. It was like $30 or something like that, but literally, a woman was pulling like whole Maine live lobsters out of it.
That's good. Anytime you can get the kitchen
a giant bowl. I mean, that would be enough for a meal in and of itself.
Kitchen sink of seafood is what bouillabaisse, or in Italian restaurants, it's the zuppa di pesce, like you get the whole frutta di mare. But yeah, the bouillabaisse is the French version. And Sea Watch, I've got to get up there. Meanwhile, Sarni is just all geeked up about this freaking Duke game today, which nobody cares about down here. And I guess Duke is a contending team for number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. But he's like saying, "Oh, ESPN's down at campus, and they're here for Cooper Flag." I have no idea what a Cooper Flag is. And
he's the best player in the country. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Oh, okay. And then the Cavender twins. He says Cooper Flag is hanging out with one of the Cavender twins. I know of no such things. I know that they're like some hot models that are on Instagram that make millions of dollars. Yes. But, dirty old man Sarni just can't help himself.
Yes, he is.
Meanwhile, number 5.
What's the last one?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Number 5. This is a place that I trashed when I was a critic, but it is a perennial popular place, 15th Street Fisheries. And it has kind of an downstairs, which is more of a kind of a low-key casual spot, and the upstairs formal dining room, which is what I reviewed for the Sun Sentinel. I still remember the review. It was one of those things where it has location, it has reputation, but it's in severe need of rehabilitation. So that was 8 years ago, and I ran into the owner of 15th Street Fisheries, a really nice guy named Ted. I believe his name is Ted Tripp. They run the marina there, but I met him at an event a couple of months ago, and he remembered me. So he's a nice gentleman in his 80s, and he invited me to come in there and maybe do a show. So again, 15th Street Fisheries is in the running in the Sun Sentinel. Of those 5, Aruba, Deck 84, Boathouse at Riverside, Sea Watch, and 15th Street Fisheries, which would get your vote, Jeff Defo DeForest?
Tough question. I mean, I think there were some oversights there because how do you overlook
Go ahead.
Danielle Rossi and Ocean's 234? Spectacular dining right there on the beach, practically. Great spot with a lot of atmosphere in the place and surrounding as well. I would have put that on there. Deck 84 is great. I love Burt Rappaport. I like Aruba Beach Cafe. I think it's probably a candidate for the Andy Cagnetta iconic restaurant.
Yeah.
Category.
Very true. Yes.
Surprising to see a plaque up there at some point in time. Many places, Blue Moon Fish Cafe also.
Exactly. I was surprised that was an oversight. Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they only are going to list 5, the problem is, like we talk about all the time, you have a zillion restaurants here that are all great. And so for people to be complaining and be obsessed with some place that they didn't care for and want to hammer it, just go to another place. There's like 8 million places here.
No, how do you, again, it's like pizza. There's so many different styles of
water restaurants.
And with water, when you're saying it could be on any body of water, it opens up the feel. But as you mentioned, yeah, there's places that I think are more deserving that should have been on the list. There are places that I'm surprised that weren't on the list because of the popularity that I wouldn't necessarily put on my list. But you mentioned Blue Moon. I'm thinking of places like Calouse, which a lot of people seem to like. I don't. I think their food is just mid, as the kids say. Shooters is a place that's been very popular, and Bow Campers are very popular, but they didn't get nods. And places that I think might have deserved nods, and I'm going to be, a homer here, but Casa Calabria, like that's
Yes.
pretty darn good. And even the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar is a fun waterfront spot that's right on the water there. But Casa Calabria, I mean, the food there is excellent, and that's overlooking the ocean. Other places I'm thinking of is the House on the River and Wild Time from the Depuzo group. Our friends, the Giorgio's in Hollywood and Taverna Opa, owned by the same family that Taverna Kima, where we go up in Boca. But I love going to Taverna Opa. You watch those sunsets overlooking the Intracoastal. I mean, once upon a
Billy
time,
Stone Crab's probably
Billy Stone Crab has a beautiful picture window. So that's waterfront. And then, I'm looking Benny's on the beach, Dune, Tocado. There's a lot of spots that I would have thought might have gotten some mention. Benny's on the beach is up in Lake Worth, and it's one of those places that is spectacular. It's an only in South Florida kind of place. It's built on a pier. The food is pretty good. And they have some of these like monstrosity big mega Bloody Marys where they throw in the kitchen sink and shrimp and hamburgers and things that are floating off to the side. I posted a picture once on the group a few years back. I think it goes for $35 back then, and who knows now, but it's like a meal in a bowl that you could also get drunk. And I think it got like 200,000 views. People were going crazy over this mega Bloody Mary. It's Benny's on the beach in Lake Worth. And then another one is the quarterdeck on Dania Beach Pier is a very popular spot, and also right over, on a pier on the ocean. The food, at one point it had a nice sushi bar, and they've got rid of that. Now it's just more of the stuff you find at any quarterdeck, burgers and tacos and stuff. But again, for the location, a beautiful view. So there's many places in South Florida, as you mentioned. Lubie, of the five, what would you pick, and what do you think is the biggest oversight? Is there something that jumps out?
I Sea Watch. I'm actually going to be going with my family like next month, so I'll update my opinion. I've never been, so I can't really say anything about them. I like Aruba's. I think Aruba does a good job, but I would probably say Deck 84. Like Deck 84's vibe is really cool. Like I like because you can see even the inside, you can see the water, the outside, you can see the water. They do a good job with food. We sat with the chef, who I know is doing a whole thing and revamping the menu, and we know with Bert, like they're always trying to like be forward thinking while also taking care of the customers that are the mainstays. And I really, our experiences at Deck 84 of what's on the list, I really enjoyed it. And I would just say House on the River, because to me, we have so much waterway dining. If you're not making the list 10 to 20, then what would separate places is what do we have here that they don't have anywhere else? Not, is it cool? You have a water. Is it good food? Is it great food? And do we have this anywhere else in all of South Florida? And my experience at the House on the River, no. I've been all over South Florida my entire life, and I've never seen a place where if you close my eyes, put a thing on my head, and then opened it up, and I looked, I would not know where the hell I was. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, House on the River literally has Charleston, New Orleans, Savannah. Like, I would know I was in South Florida, and then the food's good, and the service is good, and there's value. Like, all these other places are great. They do a great job, but there's 20 more, like Defo saying, just like it, to me, if you're going to be on the water and you're going to be South Florida, I want it to be different than every place else. And that place really is.
Yeah, no. And they have those. I walked by it on Saturday. It was booming. In between, they have their regular brunch on the patio. Then they have the club, whatever they call it, the Veuve Clicquot brunch under the bright tents and things there. And then they have the tea service up on the second floor inside, overlooking the whole thing. It's really like he's done a great job with all these different experiences, and the food is good. So if you haven't been to House on the River yet, definitely recommend it. All right, we got to take one more break, and then we'll wrap up this edition of the Lunchbox from home. We'll be back after these words. Southern comfort food from a scratch kitchen, delicious drinks and house-made spirits from a craft bar, a great vibe inside and out with a spacious patio. I'm talking about Batch New Southern Kitchen and Tap, Fort Lauderdale, in the heart of the city at 525 North Federal Highway. It's open 7 days for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch with classics like fried chicken and waffles and shrimp and grits, and creative items like pecan crusted salmon and a fried green tomato BLT. And the drinks? Smooth sipping and so good. There's convenient free parking and a garage next door, happy hour at the bar, an entire patio, 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and live music every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It's pet and people friendly and with cozy fire pits for when the temperature dips. For reservations and more information, go to batchsouthernkitchen.com. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, and also now with a new location on Las Olas Boulevard. Those are my spots. Upscale food and a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. If you want great Italian food in a beautiful beachfront setting, have I got the place for you. Casa Calabria at the Ocean Manor Resort, 4040 Galt Ocean Drive in Fort Lauderdale. Highly rated across all the restaurant review platforms and totally Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. Delicious, authentic Southern Italian food in a cozy dining room overlooking the Atlantic. Live music in the lounge, full bar, and a great wine list. Owner Frank Talrico takes great pride in his family recipes from his native Calabria. Fresh fish and seafood, veal, house-made pastas, and marinara sauces smooth as silk. You gotta try the imported meats and cheeses on the antipasto platters, and don't miss that ricotta gnocchi, fluffy little pillows straight from heaven. Casa Calabria, open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday, closed. All right. For the finest poultry and the freshest fish, Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, located at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood, open 7 days. Since 1951, a South Florida tradition for stone crab in season, Thanksgiving turkeys, holiday feasts, and everyday eating. Great steaks, house-made sausage, and prepared foods, too. Delaware is not just a market, it's a celebration of taste, quality, and old-fashioned customer service with a smile. Sign up for their weekly email flyer at DelawareChicken.com and tell them Mike Mayo and the Lunchbox sent you. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a great bagel with lox, matzo ball soup, deli sandwich, and rugelach, you know where I go? Grandpa's Restaurant in Dania Beach. It's a South Florida institution since 1957 that was revamped a few years back by a pair of New York bagel baking legends. Full deli and appetizing case with spreads, salads, and platters for takeout and catering. Grandpa's is near Federal Highway just north of Sterling Road, open 7 days for breakfast and lunch. Go eat and enjoy. It's Mike Mayo's Lunchbox approved. For the finest and authentic Greek cuisine, Taverna Kima is the place to go. 6298 North Federal Highway in Boca Raton. It's been around for nearly 2 decades. Every day is a feast with grilled lamb and fish, house-made spinach pie and moussaka, gyros, traditional dips, mezes, with soft, warm pita. It's open 7 days for lunch and dinner with happy hour daily from 3 to 6 p.m., indoor, outdoor, private dining. So celebrate life at Taverna Kima for reservations. Hey, it's Mayo here for Prezzo Italian Restaurants. 2 locations, Boca Raton at Park Place on Military Trail and Palm Beach Gardens in the PGA Commons on PGA Boulevard. Contemporary Italian cuisine with house-made pastas, wood-fired pizzas, salads, veal, chicken, and of course their famous focaccia bread with oven-roasted garlic bulbs. In Garlic We Trust is their slogan, and you can trust Prezzo for a great experience with gracious service and tremendous value. Open 7 days featuring brunch, lunch, dinner, and happy hour. Great wine deals and full bar at both locations. For reservations and more information, All right, we're going to be wrapping up this edition of the Lunchbox in a minute. Defo, what was the weekend gambling wrap up? The Rebel Stakes on Sunday, a very good card for me. I was deep in a hole after Saturday. I dug myself out, and I ended up $300 to the good for the weekend after the Sunday Rebel card. How'd you do?
Did not partake.
No. You saving all your money for this week's Fountain of Youth Stakes card at Gulfstream? It's going to be a good one, too. So that's it. All right. Alan, you'd be proud of me, Defo, after falling off the wagon last night, and I allowed myself this after emerging from the catacomb of doom. But this morning, guess where I was? 8:30 in the morning, back at the gym. And
Nice.
I did 40 minutes on the elliptical.
Nice.
550 calories burned, and I did a little bit of a weight training session after that, a full 1 hour in the gym, worked up a good schwitz, and then after that went with my buddy Ed. We met another friend of ours. We went to our next stop on the Iconic Eateries tour. I hadn't been there in a while. The Floridian, the Flow on Las Olas Boulevard. Have you been there in a while, Defo? Did you ever used to hang there? Because
A long time ago is the last time I was there.
yeah, it's back to being open 24 hours daily, true classic diner. And they are, basically it was owned and operated for a long time from 1977 till just a couple of years ago upon his death. Butch Samp was a long-time renowned restaurateur, and our friend Norm Kent, rest in peace, he used to do a radio show there. Everybody, all the bigwigs in Fort Lauderdale used to hang out there for breakfast. But I hadn't been there since Butch passed, and now the restaurant has been purchased, and really also they've done a great job kind of restoring it. They redid the inside. The same crew that owns and operates the Gran Forno Bakery that's right across the street. Tremendous place. But they're using all the Gran Forno baked goods now and breads. Like they basically bake them and then bring them across the street, and they use them at the Floridian. We're going to be in there on March 10th with Andy Cagnetta and the Transworld Business Advisor crew for the next Iconic Eatery show, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I had a breakfast sandwich on a croissant that was just fantastic. My buddy had the Bimini bread French toast, so it's the really thick cut one, even thicker than challah, and that was delicious. So they're doing a good job there at the Floridian, and the place, I guess, has been there, they said, since 1937, but it started as like a drugstore and a soda fountain. But then I don't know at what point where it became like a diner restaurant. I think sometime in the 50s, and then Butch took it over. So it's been around a long time. And it's one of those places I used to go a lot back in my clubbing days at 3 a.m. We'd get a good omelet to soak up all the alcohol. So anyway, that looking forward to getting out there in a couple of weeks. Tomorrow, Luke, so are we going to see you in the flesh, or is it going to be a remote appearance for Defo tomorrow?
A little prohibitive for me. The 2:30 post time is rough. I did plan something that I have to do at 3:30. So
all right, we'll see you on the small screen for any amount. I know Luke always appreciates seeing you.
I love Luke. I wish I could get down there, but wasn't aware that we were doing that until early this morning.
Okay, yeah, no, and he likes having the restaurant free and clear during the lunch rush, and I because it's a small place, and I appreciate that. So we kind of get in after the lunch rush, and anytime we could get in there, and anytime I could have a plate of his jambalaya, I'm always a happy camper. So that's going to be tomorrow, yeah, that'll do it for today. I had an enjoyable time being at home, and we're going to see everybody tomorrow. It's going to be a good rest of the week, and enjoy. Look, they said it was going to be raining all day today. Weathermen are wrong again. I guess this is what happens when you cut everybody at the National Weather.
Exactly.
Hey, we did pretty good, not really getting too far into the political weeds today. And how about that Tesla stock? All good. All right, that's going to do it for today. Enjoy every sandwich.
Three, and we sit down.